Well, anyway, many times that guys have tried to rape me and they didn't get away with it. And one time, I wanted to join aeronautical school, General Aeromotive Corporation in Cleveland, Ohio. There were three good ones in the country. One was in Cleveland, one was in Toledo, and the other one was in New York City. And I lived in Akron, 30 miles from Cleveland, so I talked my way into coming up to try to get into the school there. Well, everybody was pushing and shoving. This is during the war, when you couldn't even get on a bus, and I was left in the bus station at midnight because I didn't push my way on the bus. So a woman found a book and she said, "Would you like to read this book?" And I said, "Yes." And the name of the book was "I Was Hitler's Doctor." And so I sat on the edge of the bench in the Greyhound bus terminal, and I had my leg up like this, and I had the book here, and some guy came along the side of me and he said, and he flashed his coat, opened it up, and he said, "You're wanted by the FBI, come with me." And I turned the page. I didn't even realize he was talking to me. So he came around and he grabbed me by the left hand that I had up on the arm of the
bench.
The bench, and he tried to pull me up, and when he did, I kicked him with my foot exactly where my dad said I should. And he flew over, and he hit the wooden bench, and it sounded like a bomb went off. Well, by this time, the bus driver and some of the guys, Navy and Army guys that were around the counter getting coffee, came over to see what was going on. And this guy got so mad at me, he took a hold of my arm and lifted me up off of the floor at least 10 inches, and I was still fighting. And the bus driver said, "What's going on over here?" And I said, "This guy's trying to get me out of here, and I don't even know who he is." They said, "Well, you're not taking her anywhere." And he dropped his coat off, and the other sailors, they were going to fight him. By this time, he beat it out the side door, and I beat it in the ladies' restroom. And two plainclothesmen told the waitress to find out if there was a woman in there with a blue suit on. And she said, "Did you see a woman in here with a blue suit on?" And I said, "No, I didn't see any, and I was standing there in a blue suit." And the two plainclothesmen stepped up and they said, "Well, honey, come with us. We caught him up the street and we want you to identify him." And I said, "No, I'm not going anywhere with anybody," because they were in plain clothes and I didn't trust them. But a cop came behind him and told me the same thing, and because he was dressed in uniform, I went with him up the street. Well, there was a sailor went in an all-night restaurant to get a pack of cigarettes and left his girl standing on the sidewalk, and this guy tried the same thing on her. By the time we got up, there were two cops holding the sailor, two cops holding the other guy, and the little sailor was still trying to fight him, and he had that man's face a bloody mess, and he was about 200 pounds. And they hauled him off to jail, and they said I'd have to come up and go to the courthouse. And I called because they never called me, and they said somebody paid $500 bail to get him off, and I knew that he belonged to that gang that kidnapped women, made prostitutes out of them, and the families never saw him again. And he wasn't getting me because I had two little boys at home, Bobby and Denny.